What if I told you that Jim Jones and Chrissy Lampkin's idyllic romance, which social media has hailed as a relationship goal, actually stinks? It's not just fishy, it's completely musty emotionally, and prepare yourself spiritually because Jim just tore off the bandage from a 10-year love wound, and no amount of bleach could undo what's flowing out. Not even the VH1 executives saw this coming. It's the kind of filthy heartbreak that makes hip-hop and love feel like Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood. We're talking about dubious recordings, twisted allegiance games, guilt techniques on steroids, and by speaking out, he went nuclear. The question now is, was Chrissy ever truly in love, or was this all a long-running scam? Why did Jim depict her wearing Chanel pearls and red bottoms? The relationship was so poisonous that Instagram even attempted to flag the details as emotionally disturbing. Love is stifling and deliberate, and more importantly, what evidence does he have to support going to this length? This isn't just a painful breakup, it's a public emotional crime scene. So switch off your notifications, grab some snacks, and prepare yourselves because Jim just revealed every private detail of Chrissy's meticulously staged story, and there isn't a single press release that will make things right after this storm. Let's take when Jim and Chrissy first appeared on our screens. They deceived the entire society by arranging lavish vacations, proposing, and wearing inexpensive rings that somehow went viral. They were meant to be the couple who made love. Jim is now publicly claiming that hip-hop appears to be genuine, but that it is all a fiction, a performance, and a calculated trap disguised as romance. Fans are also gasping because the illusion is quickly dissolving. Let's go back a few years. Behind the scenes, Jim claims that Chrissy portrayed herself as the ultimate ride-or-die lady who supported him through label disputes, street brawls, and that uncomfortable proposal rejection that lived rentrée in VH1 reruns didn't hold him down. Instead, she imprisoned him in what some are describing as a leaking emotional breakdown that was conveyed to his closest circle. Jim admits that the love was never liberating. Rather, it was controlling and trapped. Let that settle for a moment. This is the same person who brought us We Fly High, and he's now confessing that he was grounded in the worst way possible. He claims that their entire romance was like love on a leash, and I wasn't the one holding it, was based on mind games, emotional coercion, and tenderness that came with conditions. Jim testified all of this under oath, that is, during a sealed deposition connected to a different VH1, so it wasn't simply side talk. Jim fired so many emotional bombs during the linked case that the court stenographer had to request a break. One court official said his voice sounded exhausted but at last free. This wasn't testimony, rather it was a full-scale cleansing with Now. Let's talk about receipts. It appears that Chrissy kept a thorough relationship ledger, a spreadsheet that lists every dollar she ever spent on things like gym memberships, flights, clothes, bail money, haircuts, grills, and even teeth-whitening trays, recorded with interest. But here's where it gets twisted. Chrissy allegedly used the spreadsheet as a weapon during disputes. For example, when Jim requested space, she allegedly responded, "I'm not going anywhere," with a score of 82 on 311/47. She apparently shopped around to 3 networks, but guess what? She failed to include Jim Jones, one executive, in the i.e. hostage negotiation between the beauty influencer and Excel and Lipstick, the title of the documentary series. Chrissy responded, "No, but that's my version of events," and that's exactly when the deal fell through. When I questioned, "Is Jim attached to this project?" But wait, this isn't where the confusion ends. This is where because what happened next wasn't just shade. It was a courtroom earthquake, and Cameron entered the room as though Karma herself had called him. The distinction between public controversy and outright sabotage began to blur. A file folder labeled Confidential C+J included so much evidence that Chrissy's meticulously maintained empire didn't merely tilt it from the ground up. There was no Hollywood strut, no smile, just icy efficiency. When prosecutors opened that, a courtroom staffer described Cam's appearance as being like a calm before a legal hurricane. He wasn't come to help anyone. Instead, he came to settle old scores and provide receipts. A high-resolution bank scan of the folder's first page showed Christina Santiago, with the same birth date and address as Chrissy's previous beauty line. But it wasn't under Jim's or even Chrissy's name. The unusual $25K, $50K, and occasionally $80K transactions offshore the Cayman Islands were all labeled as consulting services for a TV company that isn't even listed in any official records. By the fourth page, a juror begged for a break, no joke. But after warming up, Cam revealed even another shocking revelation. An invoice trail connected to a women's empowerment organization Chrissy ran during her alleged comeback period. Cam's legal team the $190,000 in donor funds that were purportedly diverted to private companies associated with Chrissy's own brand were used for Glam Squad promotional shots, image consultants, and even a line item titled, "Chrissy appeared," to be short-circuiting by this point, with her clenched jaw and twitching fingers. Her lawyer leaned in and muttered something, but she didn't say it. Reunion episode wardrobe, yes. It was supposedly utilizing charity money to stunt on reality TV. Then the video showed a pixelated hotel hallway with Miami Chrissy in stilettos pacing as if she had just received bad news, with the phone placed to her ear and the audio muffled. She didn't blink. Instead, she just stared ahead, frozen in that courtroom spotlight. But it's absolutely apparent that I told you that if Cam talks, we're done. He has backups and proof. I ordered Jim to stop talking, but he refused to listen. The room went silent, and Chrissy's attorney immediately raised a privacy objection prosecution. Clapped back, the video was lawfully obtained through a subpoena, and the judge allowed it to be used as evidence because Chrissy's fears were already being realized. Her entire image of the tough ride-or-die lady was being unraveled, and a portrait was used in its stead, of deceit, manipulation, and possibly fraud. And then the last nail in the coffin appeared in the form of a former VH1 production assistant, whom we'll call C. Her first words were Chrissy, who used to bribe us with slips of cash. Her voice was trembling, but she was prepared to burn it all down. The jury flinched as Chrissy finally buried her face in her palms to cut scenes that made her look bad, but C wasn't finished yet. I saw her threaten a senior editor, who once told him that if he aired that footage, he'd never work again. During one trip to Turks and Chaos, which she said was for script development, I was present, and Cam sat quietly in the middle of it all. She also submitted fictitious invoices and claimed travel reimbursements for shoots that never took place. As the truth was now blaring through the courtroom speakers, the gallery showed no emotion, no smirk, just icy cold composure like a man, who didn't need to say anything more. Meanwhile, outside the bloggers covering the courthouse chaos were live streaming on Instagram, sharing updates every 2 minutes, and Twitter was on fire. One of the ruthless memes had Chrissy in tears, captioning it, "When you bet the house on manipulation and it goes foreclosure." Another saw Cameron wearing shades while wearing a courtroom and reality TV camera. But the most graphic split image included Jim and Chrissy grinning on the right side during the VH1 years. When the drama reached its climax, a black SUV pulled up to the courthouse's side entrance, outstripping Jim, who was wearing a sweatshirt with shadows under his eyes and no bling or security flex. He entered the courtroom like a ghost returning to the scene, strolled right past the cameras, and sat behind Cam with his arms folded and his lips pressed tight. The judge asked, "Would you like to speak?" Asked, and Jim calmly and softly replied, "I just want the truth out, I didn't know." It only took 4 words, and Chrissy rose up and whispered something that Jim couldn't hear. Jim didn't answer, he simply stepped out once more, and that video went viral, garnering tens of thousands of reposts and thousands more TikToks with tabloids flashing huge red headlines in a matter of minutes. Jim leaves Chrissy in complete quiet, and Chrissy sobs following Jim's final look. Cameron didn't just drop bombs, he unleashed a huge inferno. And just when you thought the mayhem was at its height, the court wasn't finished yet. This time, a voice tape from none other than Mama was introduced as evidence to just last year, Jones herself timestamped. The message was subtle but profound. You think that lady loves you because she loves control. Wake up before you lose your soul and your money. It's poetry, brutal and blunt. And guess what? Because prosecutors immediately dropped the hammer and joined up with federal authorities to go deeper into Chrissy's financial history. Yes, subpoenas were issued. The judge didn't just nod along. Instead, he ordered action, targeting historical production budgets, nonprofit filings, and company data dating back years. If these charges are confirmed, we're talking about tax evasion wire fraud. Her previous business manager was formally under FBI examination. Fraud, even probable RICO charges. The courtroom practically froze. Chrissy slumped into her chair. No words, no cries, just a thousand-y stare of pure surprise. And Cameron, he rose up, buttoned his blazer, and left no mic drop. No final glance, just a silent departure as the empire burned behind him. But boss, that wasn't the end of the story, because as the public was riveted to every leak, video, and digital flame, Yandy Smith entered where Yandy joins the stage. New adversaries emerge from ancient shadows, and Chrissy's well guarded. House of Cards encounters the kind of wind you can't block, because if you believed the dramatic climax was Cameron's folder, but you were mistaken. The courtroom had just begun to settle down when the doors suddenly sprang open again, and the name that made Chrissy cringe, Yandy Smith, came storming in without a back entrance. Her face was icy as reporters called her name. Paparazzi jumbled cameras flashed like warning shots. And Yandy walked with a baby hair reverberating right through her front heels while holding a folder in one hand and a Bluetooth in the other. Stated, "It's my turn inside," while staring into a single camera. It was already tense, and Chrissy appeared cracked, without makeup, wearing a low-profile sweatshirt as if the world were closing in. Jim, Cameron, and even Mama Jones had departed the bench, but Yandy was imprisoned after being sworn in, and she lighted the match after saying, "I kept my mouth shut for 10 years out of respect, but today I speak to survive." According to Yandy, Chrissy allegedly operated a backstage narrative control ring during the 2013 and 2014 LHH seasons. What does it entail? Bribes, threats, pressure on editors, and pressure on producers are all purportedly intended to change the narrative. One instance of making Yandy the antagonist while ignoring Chrissy's real-life problems came as a shock during a reunion taping. "I had a panic attack backstage, and Chrissy told the crew that I was being overindulgent with screen time. She was the one who notified my ex where I would be so he could corner me. Surveillance captured it, and they terminated the video." Gasps reverberated across the room, and Chrissy blinked once before staring at the Yandy was not even halfway through when she pulled out a printed, time-stamped, authentic email from Chrissy to a showrunner that said, "If I look bad, the whole show looks bad, clean it up." She felt as though the floor may swallow her. Another Yandy used to retort, "She'll survive, I won't, boss." This wasn't drama, but rather black arts PR warfare. After that, Yandy's legal team gave over an old phone that Chrissy supposedly used during her tenure on the show. She exchanged hush money for backup cast chats about which video to bury, and phony drama paid feuds with off-the-record insiders. One of the messages said, "Pay her $1,500, tell her it was a clothing refund, and have her sign a document that prevents her from speaking." The courtroom shook, and then the unexpected turn of events revealed that Yandy and Cameron had been together. They spent months not just exchanging messages, but also creating a digital forensic trail that documented all of Chrissy's alleged shady actions from 2011 to the present. Twitter erupted once more, with hashtags flying like confetti and Yandy uncensored. Yandy on the stand with pearls flashing in a CEO-like position, Chrissy Gate in court, the true love, and hip-hop strategic silence. No more blogs posting side-by-side memes. One user said, "She didn't clap back. She held the whole thunderstorm for 10 years. While another Yandy took images of sequences from Marvel reveals on Reddit. Just when it appeared like Chrissy wouldn't be able to plummet further, the prosecution removed. The last audio recording and forensic analysis confirmed a 2019 footage of Chrissy speaking on the phone with a VH1 producer. If we reveal that Jim is depressed, it will divert attention. His mental state makes me appear like a saint once more." The judge even took a deep breath, and the bailiff appeared to be about to pass out, but Jim delivered the decisive blow just when everyone believed he was done. When the judge asked if he would want to speak, Jim stood, looked at Chrissy, and said, "I just want the record straight, I didn't know." He had returned to court with his legal team by his side, no shackles, no chatter, just weary eyes and legal papers. 4 words, Chrissy crumbled. She stood mouthed something towards him. "Maybe, please." That clip went viral after Jim shook his head and left once more. Twitter said that TikTok's patched it reels were the quietest mic drop in TV scandal history. He wants to ensure that nothing related to him is included in lawsuits or criminal investigations. Therefore, he has protected her, and the gym sent in a stack of documents, including bank records, asset documentation, property deeds, and a private letter detailing years of alleged financial abuse and manipulation. One line of the letter contained the, "I didn't want to see it," but in retrospect, it wasn't love. Rather, it was survival for her. Chrissy just gazed at the floor in silence, not blinking without responding, and the court didn't waste time. The judge smacked down the gavel and said that there is grounds to launch a criminal inquiry into claims of financial malfeasance, fraud, and coercion. As a result, Ms. Lampkin is prohibited from travel and must immediately relinquish control of all active business accounts. Her businesses instantly locked down her image, destroying Chrissy and Jim's love story. Just when it appeared that, after the tale was finished, Mama Jones released a teaser for her own documentary series. They attempted to remove me from the scene, but I managed to keep everything, including the eerie music and the grainy black and white film of Chrissy at invite-only events, the narration, some women who create their own legacy, and others who take over someone else's. If this isn't the most outrageous, messy, and content-rich catastrophe in the history of hip-hop reality TV, I don't know what is, because this isn't just the one dirty receipt at a time. A couple's fall is destroying a dynasty. What comes next? Chrissy's legal team is frantically chasing down the IRS, and Mona Scott is purportedly selling a love and hip-hop spin-off that is already popular. That's all. From manufactured plot lines to covert wire transfers, burner phones, and blackmail, the Chrissy and Jim story didn't finish there. In group conversations, love and lock up the Lampkin files, guess who's rumored to narrate it? Yandy Smith detonated, and the fallout now belongs to the federal government, blogs, subpoenas, and a merciless public. However, the real question is, was this truly love, or was Chrissy only fabricating a proposal and a red carpet for her own fantasies? Do you believe that Jim was duped and misled at this point, or is this only a sour breakup disguised as a Netflix thriller? What about Yandy, the truth teller with the receipts, or the chess player with the flawless? Your unfiltered takes in the timing drop. Let the comments flow. Who's the genuine one? Pretend to be the next person, because if you're still as you watch, you're already on the jury. Strike that as though your jaw were still in place. Bash that subscribe button on the floor, if you want seats in the front row for the next blast, and activate those alerts since the next leak. You won't want to listen to it. Secondhand, this is more than simply a scandal, is reality. This is battle. This is receipts. TV turned confessions stay in. Courtroom, prepare to remain merciless, and we'll see you in the upcoming expose. What's next?